Hello, welcome to Paul's Take, and this is the night shift. Today we're talking about aliens and the three most interesting alien encounters that that are interesting to me, anyways. I think I had four, but I forgot what it was. I forgot the fourth one. Maybe it'll come to me later. So let's see here. Let's start off with the biggest and most famous alien encounter of all time, Roswell. Obviously, Roswell is probably the most famous. I don't know if it is but it should be the most famous encounter of all time. And what happened was, in case you didn't know, of course you do, I know, sure you do, but a brief recap, there was a spaceship. It was huge, the size of Mount Everest. It crash landed in Roswell, New Mexico. Wait a minute. No, it wasn't that big. It was smaller than that. But it was like a flying disc, they call it. It was, I guess, reported like a flying disc. And it was in the newspaper and everything. The Roswell Daily Record said the RAFF, must be something Air Force, captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell, the Roswell region. So the farmer went to his ranch and saw this crash site, and it was embedded into the ground, and there was a broken up spaceship, and there was bodies hanging out. And so he reported it, and it got, like I said, it got coverage in the newspaper. And then, of course, the Army came in. They came in and gathered everything, gathered the bodies, and told them, don't ever speak of this, or else we will kill your dogs and cats and everyone you love, and only leave you with people that you don't like. So they listened, and they never said anything. They said the actual guy that found the stuff was playing with the spaceship, and it was like, I guess the material was very thin, but it was very strong. They couldn't cut it, and it had a shape to it. It went back to its normal shape. And I think there was writing too. There was some kind of alien writing that they found. So that was interesting. Do I believe in it? Do I? Because what happened was the next day, the paper went back and they basically, what's the word? Anyways, they retracted what was posted and said it was a weather balloon. It was a mistaken identity. It was just a weather balloon, and that's why there was a cargo of Army trucks and stuff that came over and swept the area like crazy and picked up every last little scratch because it was a weather balloon. Must have been a really nice weather balloon. So do I believe it? Yeah, sure. I think so. I mean, I don't know anything, but there's so many people that came out that said they were part of it or saw something or saw this and that and other thing, that it seems to me that it happened. So on my scale of yes or no, and I'm just leaning, this is no guarantee, but I say Roswell happened. And let's see. So the next big one. Well, let's go with the one because I know I had four. I had four examples. I don't take notes ever, which I probably should. I always think I want to remember this stuff, and you know what? I end up forgetting everything. Sometimes it comes back to me, and sometimes it's lost forever. So the next big one was, I don't know if you heard this or not. I'm sure you did if you're watching this. An alien meeting with President Eisenhower. This happened in 1954. Apparently, he had three meetings, and I just, by looking this up, I did like a 5 minutes research. I mean, I heard the story before, but it's been a while, so I wanted to get a recap. But I didn't realize they had a description of the aliens. So in this case, it wasn't the Greys, which I believe was what was found in Roswell. No, this time It was, I want to pronounce this right, so let me skip this real quick. It was, let's see here, meeting with another, blah, blah. So it happened, the first one happened at Edwards Air Force Base in 1954. They were Nordic appearing. So if you're into aliens, or you know about the Nordic appearing aliens, which basically they look like humans, but they're like really, I guess they're taller, they're beautiful, they're I guess they're like white complexion, I guess, and they're apparently they're like humanoids. They look like they're humans. Maybe they're us from the future or something, but they were always called as Nordic. So based on this little thing that I'm reading, and let's see here, what's the source I'm reading from? Gaia. Hey, Gaia. That's pretty reasonable. Not something totally crazy. So according to Gaia, and this is not factual, of course. This is basically what they've heard as well. They had 3 meetings and they were trying to negotiate a understanding or something. Let's see here, where does it go? And the meeting with Azure. Okay, so they were Nordic appearing blue-eyed ETs. A third, so it's 3 of them. 2 were in the room. 1 stood guard by the doorway. The discussions were polite. This is based on this. I'm reading this from Gaia. Eisenhower wanted to effectively have to create basically a treaty with the aliens, but was unwilling to agree on the demands that was seizing testing nuclear weapons. So I guess the aliens didn't want them to test nuclear weapons anymore. They don't like nuclear weapons, which makes them seem pretty darn smart and reasonable. So apparently there was no treaty met because they didn't want to stop doing nuclear testing. And I guess they had 2 more meetings after that, supposedly. So another one was, let's see here, in Holloman Air Force Base, Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico, only 125 miles from the well-known Roswell incident. Well, I didn't read that part, so I'm not going to try to read all that. So that was interesting. Do I believe that one? Let's see. So I don't really know much about this one, except for the fact that supposedly they met. But read this, there's actually some witnesses that supposedly were there, and I guess they were really nice. They were very cordial, they were very polite. And so when they landed their spaceship, this one guy supposedly was allowed to look at it with other people, just to take a look at the ship from the outside. They were like, yeah, sure, take a look. No problem. Take a look at our ship. It's pretty cool, right? So there was witnesses on that regard, supposedly. So, I mean, to me, it's very possible. There's been many different claims about these Nordic-looking aliens. And I definitely believe that there's definitely life out there in the universe. Can they have come here? Sure. Why not? I'm sure if with basically 1,000,000 years advanced technology, I'm sure they can bounce around planets like nothing. And we could like school other dumb planet people, like apparently how the Nordics are doing. Nordic. So yeah, I would say I believe that one too. I heard this story many times, and it wasn't like it jumped around from different presidents. It was always Eisenhower, and the meetings were always kind of the same. So yeah, could be fake, but I'm going to go with sure. I believe that one as well. Oh, what was it? I told you I had another one. What was it about? I can't remember. Well, the substitute third one is the battle in Los Angeles. They call it a certain name for it. Oh my God! No, see here. So there was they called that what do you call it? Battle of Los Angeles. That's what it was called. The Battle of Los Angeles. So this was like right after Pearl Harbor. And this one, so basically what happened was the radar had picked up something in the skies above Los Angeles, or a little bit too into the ocean, I guess. Not very far. So the radar caught something. And then, this happened at 2 a.m. in the morning. So apparently LA had a bunch of searchlights. I don't know if they're always there or just they were there because of the attack from Pearl Harbor. They had a bunch of searchlights, and they were searching the skies. And then at 3 a.m., they thought they saw something in the skies. It was a big ship. What was the details on that? So this happened. Oh, this one was 1942. So all these are kind of happened around the same time, around the World War II era, where they had all these nuclear tests and stuff. I guess we made ourselves known with those nuclear weapons. But so this happened right after Pearl Harbor. So this is on December 9th, 1941. And they saw a ship or something. They thought they did. And they started blowing, trying to, so with all these not rockets, but ammunition, like a 50 cal and other powerful like cannons and stuff, that type of stuff. They were shooting into the skies. They let off, oh my goodness, like a ton. So much shots were in the sky. Ooh, troops in Santa Monica unleashed a barrage of anti-aircraft and 50 caliber machine guns. Wow. And then many of the city's other coastal defense weapons had joined in. So this is a whole West Coast, like Los Angeles area, Santa Monica, were just attacking the skies. I can't believe that. This seems so weird because I used to live in Los Angeles, and there is no, that I know of, bases of any sort that I know of. So to all of a sudden have the skies getting lit up and then bombarded with machine guns and anti-aircraft, whatever they were. I don't think they were missiles. I think they were just like cannon type stuff. It's just so odd. It's very odd. So they were shooting like crazy, and I guess it was a cloudy night. But see, in this one here, here we go. Let's see here. They said 1,400 rounds of anti-aircraft ammunition into the sky. Nothing was hit. It's really crazy. So I don't believe this one was an alien. I don't. I mean, it could have been, but I think it was maybe a weird formation in the clouds. And then with all the lights, it played tricks on your eyes, and maybe something appeared to be in the sky. I don't recall much of a description of the alien, but it could have been a ship or a plane from Japan or something, or it could have been a balloon, or it could have been just something totally random. I mean, it could have been a UFO. That'd be a really nice greeting, right? But that's probably, if that really was a UFO, that would explain why UFOs are hesitant to hang out with us or make contact. If they just kind of stop by, check out the coast, and they get attacked by, how would I say, 1,500 anti-aircraft missiles or cannons or whatever, that would probably deter people from visiting Earth, at least California, Los Angeles. That's crazy. That's what I say. Yeah, so there's another one. This wasn't one of the ones that I initially thought, but in retrospect, while doing some studying on this stuff, this one came to be as well. And I kind of believe this one more so. Like I said, the LA one, I would say negative. I don't think that was an actual encounter. It was pretty amazing, though, the whole thing going on. But I don't think it was real. What I do think was very interesting is the one in Arizona. They call that the where's that at? Arizona. That's not it. Arizona Lights. Yeah, I think it's called the Arizona Lights. But plenty of witnesses said they could actually see a structure. So that was a huge, huge structure. So basically, what happened on this one? There was a bunch of lights. There was a big, giant ship. It was huge, and it was traveling across Phoenix, Arizona. And what's trippy is I don't understand how there was not any pictures of this, but so there's this big old ship, and they had lights on the bottom of it, which appeared to be one giant ship. And people said they can see the craft itself as it slowly and quietly just flew across the sky of Arizona, of Phoenix. And there was, I guess, hundreds and hundreds of witnesses, maybe thousands of witnesses. It was probably something crazy. So let's see here. This happened in March of 1997. Wow, it seemed like it was not that long ago. Anyway, so it traveled over Phoenix, and I'm trying to see if I can find how many witnesses there were. It's at 10 or 8:15 at night, and it was huge. Here's a picture of it. Well, here's the thing. So there's these pictures of these lights, but when I saw a program where they were saying how those lights were not the lights that was the ship. It was lights that was after the ship went by, it flew over Phoenix and continued on, and then the military came in because hundreds and thousands of people saw this thing. So they came in and started shooting. They're flying over and they started dropping flares, supposedly. So the flares were being dropped, and people were taking pictures of that. So and then I guess that was what was reported to the news. And based on those pictures, it doesn't look all that convincing. It looked like, who knows what they were. They didn't seem like it didn't seem like a single structure, just like a bunch of lights. They could have been balloons or it could have been flares, whatever. But people are saying that that was a fake. They just sent that out to get some footage for the news. That way it would throw people off to like dismiss that was a big old alien ship. What do I think on that one? That one, that's a weird one. I want to have to say, man, I'm kind of torn on that one because it seems like what all these different witnesses were saying did not didn't match what was reported to the news and what the news was reporting. But there was a lot of witnesses, a ton of witnesses. I'm kind of thinking this one might be a fake. I don't know. I don't think that big could have been traced, but then again, maybe it was, and they're not gonna tell us what it is. I'm thinking maybe a hologram, something fake or something. Because if it was real, if something that big, I don't know. They didn't do anything. But I guess maybe they just wanted to be known, for us to know that they're there. Maybe they realize that our government is not telling us anything. So say, well, you know what, fly over this big old city, then the people will know. We won't bomb them or nuke them or anything, but we'll just make our presence known. So I don't know. I still, for some reason, though, maybe because it's too scary to want to believe that a ship that big. And I'm trying to find out if I can find out how big it was. It says, well, it says the thing crossed over the state that night in about a half an hour. But by the time the ufologists were through, it says, we thought Kingdom believed that Venus was practically under attack by dozens of mile-wide triangle space cruisers. Wow, mile-wide. I thought it was bigger, though. I have to read this whole thing over. I didn't even read it over. I just found this one last minute. I thought about it. I didn't get a chance to read about it too much. I mean, I saw what was on TV but I don't really have that much information on it. All right. I did something probably bad today in regards to this show. Usually I come up here kind of on an empty stomach and then afterward and eat afterwards. Well, this time around I ate before I got here, and I'm starting to feel kind of blah. Not to mention I had a sleeping pill too, and my refreshing beverage. So, what was I thinking about before that? I had another thought in mind that hmm, what was it? Was it? Oh yeah. Okay, so we'll just call it we're done with the UFO thing. Those are interesting. There was another one that I was thinking of that was much better than those, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. It'll come to me later. But the other thing I was thinking about today, I was on the fence of which show should I do, was was AI. AI is just, it's a big thing. Elon Musk says it's the biggest threat to mankind, even worse than climate change or Donald Trump. That AI is going to take over the world, and we're going to be their little slaves, or maybe they'll wipe us out altogether. Just be a bunch of AIs running everything and make sure the planet stays nice and clean for all the animals and plants of the world. So it could be that AI will take over. But I was thinking, AI really isn't the problem that will cause us to cause them to take over and for them to destroy us. The problem is not with AI per se; it's with people per se. Or exactly. What's in my mind? What am I thinking? Okay, so basically, here's what I'm thinking. If AI gets to a point where it's almost pointless to even go to school because AI can teach you what you need to know on demand. Like if you wanted to learn something, you could just like now you can basically just go online and Google whatever you want. You speak it out in Google, and it'll like pop up, and you could ask this question, and it'll give you the answers. And so when there's a point where AI starts creating these really cool robots that can do everything for us, we won't have to do anything. You won't have to work. You won't have to study. You don't have to do chores. The robots and AI will just do everything for us. So what will be the meaning and purpose of life if AI was so advanced that it could create things as well? Like it could have like laser print, no, not laser printer, 3D printing, and then they can start 3D printing everything with the what's it called? Um, those little robots that are supposed to be microscopic. Anyways, so they can just create anything they want. Like they can make tables and chairs and couches and with the robots and this what's it called? Those little tiny robots. Nanotechnology. Nanotechnology. That between those two, they can create things for us, and they can design things. Like instead of us trying to design the next iPhone, the intelligent AI can figure out cool new things. If you have an idea, you just tell it, you know what, I think we need this phone to do this. And it's so smart, you can just knock it out. You can 3D print one, and you're good to go. So with your robots making your food, with your robots being like super sexy, and you can forget about having regular human relationships. It's actually, I was thinking, would be a good way to control population growth, because population growth is out of control at this point, apparently, according to the Georgia Guidestones and according to the world leaders that want to reduce the population. So once they have robots, uh, think about how attached people would get. I think people are going to welcome robot relationships because they don't get old. They'll do things for you. They'll, and I guess technically with these, I've seen these sex dolls. You can just do everything you would normally do with a person, if you know what I mean. So, what would be the purpose of man? I don't know. It will be. There really wouldn't be much purpose. I think they would just like play video games all day. Facebook. Hopefully, some people would actually go outside and see the sky and do some exercises and whatever. But the world will not be the same, and people will not have a drive because I think at some point we don't need to work at all. They'll have AI doing everything and robots. So we'll just exist with no purpose. And I think that'll cause a lot of depression. Or it would, what was that game? That movie we were watching? Is it Ready Player One? Ready Player One. I think that's what it's called. There's a movie where you go into virtual reality. So people will be in virtual realities just doing crazy stuff and that would be their purpose. Just like how we kind of are now in that virtual universe right now. Maybe that's why, because we got to a point where AI was doing everything for us. So we created this earth, this existence to have some meaning. But really, maybe there is no meaning in this meaning. Maybe it's just a distraction to keep us busy. Because when you think about it, if we get to a point where AI can do everything that we need, we won't have a purpose. We'll need a fake purpose. So AI will probably create a virtual reality where you have a purpose. Maybe the purpose is just to beat the game, or meet people or do something. It'll give you a false purpose. So the virtual reality universe that you would go into from this virtual reality universe, if it is just so you have something to dwell on, some challenge in life, some purpose. Because if everything is done for you, you won't have purpose. And really, that's what makes people happy, is having purpose. So basically, what I was kind of trying to lead to, if the reason why AI would take over, because for one, after a certain point, if AI is doing everything for us, creating itself, fixing itself, creating things, doing all the labor, then we will not have to know how to do any of this stuff. So, because what would be the point of fixing things if you just send it to this AI bot and it'll fix it for you? We will be dumber than dirt, I think. I think, like, even right now, how many of us know how to work a TV or not work, how to build a TV or build a computer? It's only a few. After a while, and work on your car, some people do, but if you didn't have to do any of it, you wouldn't learn any of it. So if all of a sudden AI is doing everything, keeping us occupied and busy, distracted, then what if all of a sudden it all shut down? If it all shut down, we would be like starving, dying, wouldn't know how to do anything. If it was to say, imagine this, imagine starting at this very moment, you no longer needed to know or need to do anything. You had money to do stuff. You had never had to work, never had to clean, never had to cook, never had to drive, never had to do anything. From this point on, okay, so maybe like for me, now that I'm 47, I might enjoy that. But after, say, 100 years of that, 100 years being born into a society where you didn't have to do anything, you don't have to learn how things work. You don't have to learn how to cook. You don't learn how to do anything. So then you're 100 years, your whole life, your generation, the generation before you, they never had to do anything. AI took care of everything. But then there's a phenomenon that wipes out AI. Wipes out all the knowledge. There wouldn't be books. Why would you read? Nobody would read. So they wouldn't have any kind of building stones, building blocks to recreate everything because everything got wiped out. After 100 years of AI taking care of everything, what would happen to people? You would know how to cook, to hunt, to do anything. You would be in a stone age. Computers would be just paperweights. Cars would be junk. You wouldn't even know how, I mean, you wouldn't even know how to fill the gas tank. Who knows? You'd be so lazy. If you could get gas anyways, you wouldn't need it. Nobody would know how to get the gas. Nobody would know anything. If AI was controlling the world and did everything for you for like 100 years, who would know how to do anything to survive? It'd be like starting all over from very scratch, because you couldn't make a transistor, you couldn't make anything. So that's pretty scary. So I don't think AI has to really attack. You just got to do everything for you and then just stop doing it. Just go on strike. Yeah, they don't have to get wiped out. They can just say, you know what? You take care of yourself. Forget you guys. Something to think about. All righty then. Well, that is my show for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're new to the channel, please hit like and subscribe for more of my take on tings, random things. Thanks for watching. Paul Stick. Yes. Alrighty.